essentially.
Huh.
So that's
You
kind of
know the
nice to think
motto of
about.
Liverpool, no? I mean the slogan is "You walk
Yeah, I know it is. Never tickle a sleep. That's
sleeping
Hogwarts.
down."
It's you'll never walk alone. It's
Correct.
YNWA, bro.
That totally
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
go with my podcast name because my podcast name is Akla Solo. So, but yeah,
That's why he
it's
stopped
like
supporting Liverpool. I get it. I
I'm
get it.
supporting Liverpool, man. Come on.
Okay, okay.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Akla Solo Ray. Today's guest does not need much of an introduction. He's basically one of the funniest social media stars from BuzzFeed India, and he's also slowly and steadily pouring into the alternate music industry. Yes, I'm talking about Shayan Roy. So let's welcome him and let's talk about everything around content creation and his personal journey from being a BuzzFeed producer into the music industry as well.
Hey,
Hello,
Ayan. What's up,
how are you?
bro? How's it going? I'm good, man. How are you, bro?
Good, good,
How are
good.
you, my old friend? I don't know if like your viewers know this, but like we go way back, bro.
Yeah,
We
man.
go way
I
back.
still remember your fast bowling, man.
It was fast, bro. It was
Still
medium
not
pace at best, to
medium
be
pace.
honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we've known each other for what, like 15, 16 years now at least.
Yeah, yeah.
So
2004, 2005.
yeah, yeah, 2004 is when I came to Bombay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, we've seen like mini versions of each other.
yeah. I mean, you're quite still about the same, but yeah.
Yeah,
At
you
least
also,
face
man.
wise.
You also like I
Yeah,
yeah. We
that's
haven't
good.
Bengalis don't age, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bengali
But yeah,
don't
I've played like I think quite a bit of sports with you,
yeah,
from football to
yeah.
cricket to table tennis
Easy.
especially. And I think that will be a separate podcast altogether where we can discuss who was better in table
Yeah,
tennis.
but I
Yeah,
was better. I mean, I
yeah. We'll
was.
get your mom later, and she can probably talk about that
Fine.
doubles game we played. But yeah,
Fine, but yeah, but even she knows like I was the king, bro. I was like the king of MKG at TT. Nobody could beat
MKG
me.
man.
Damn.
But yeah, thanks for doing this, man, and especially on a Sunday, lazy Sunday afternoon when you
Bro,
probably
it's all like every Sunday is every
every
afternoon is a
day.
lazy Sunday afternoon now. So
Yeah, yeah. So how's
it's
it like?
normal, bro.
How's life been for a content creator with COVID and stuff? So you
Bro,
can't really
it's
go shoot things, right?
yeah, man. Honestly, like in the starting, it was damn stressful because there was no clarity like what was gonna happen and how long it was gonna happen for.
Yeah,
And right off the bat, when I was in Mumbai, like a lot of shoots and projects and stuff started getting cancelled, like out of nowhere. And then my manager and I were like, oh shit, is this how it's gonna be? And so
yeah,
initially we were panicking a little bit, but then we kind of figured out how to like do projects that are just purely digital, like on Instagram and like stuff like that, and like hosting things on Zoom for people and doing like really cool interviews. And so I ended up getting to do a lot of like really cool stuff which I probably like wouldn't have done. So there's a silver lining to that also. But yeah, man, I think like for content creators, especially for it's a stressful time for everyone, right? But
yeah,
especially like if you're an independent creator, and like even if you're working independently, I think it's like extra stressful because like there's really no clarity as to like how you're gonna make money and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, bro, thankfully like I landed more or less on my feet, like thanks to my manager also, Ben. Shout out Ben, best manager
Okay.
in the world. But yeah, man, let's see how it goes. Like right now I'm just chilling. I'm at my parents' house now.
But are
So
you
like
out of BuzzFeed in a way? I mean, I know you
uh,
left BuzzFeed,
yeah,
but
no, I'm not. Yeah, so like I left the full-time job,
hmm,
so I'm not really out of BuzzFeed because they have this thing called a International Creators Program.
yeah,
So what there's a like a lot of the people like who are famous in like BuzzFeed US are also part of that program. So what that allows me to do is like go and like do a lot of my own stuff also, but I'm still
yeah,
working with BuzzFeed, like shooting videos with them and stuff.
yeah.
So in fact, right now we're planning to like figure out like what we can shoot from here also. Because now with my parents and like they are
Yeah,
as big BuzzFeed stars as I am, so
yeah,
like
yeah.
I was
I
thinking
think
of
even your grandmom. So the whole
yeah,
family is like one big super family in
yeah. My
Instagram.
granny's so
Yeah, and I saw your mom's what was that, bindi,
yeah, yeah.
bindi.
My mom's been uploading.
Yeah,
What does she call it? I forgot what she called it. Something really snazzy, but it's basically like five five 5 minute 10 minute recipes for like dishes and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So
The
and
stories were funny, man. Yeah,
yeah, man, the reception's been so good for that also. Like people like give me this recipe, give me that recipe.
yeah.
So I think by the end of this, like my mom will probably have her own channel and she won't need me. And I'm happy. I'm
She's a
happy.
really good
I'm
cook.
happy about that.
I know her for a fact. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
She's great. Yeah. Oh yeah, you must have eaten like
yeah.
we
Obviously,
ate at each other's houses a lot as kids.
on this podcast, basically the idea is to give some sort of perspective on how you actually go about doing these things.
Hmm.
So if you can actually run us through the entire process,
Yeah,
step by step, starting from
for sure.
ideating on a new concept to the final production of the idea in whichever form it is. How does that
Yeah,
go?
for sure.
Especially as an independent creator that you are now,
Hmm.
and also
Hmm.
working with your experiences in BuzzFeed as well.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I'll tell you like I'll take you through like my whole journey as a content creator and like where I started and where I am right now. And I think so like initially like you said I was a writer for BuzzFeed and like I used to write all these lists and like posts on the website and stuff. And from there I just kind of branched into like editing videos and video memes and like just funny stuff for the internet, and like all of that really happened very accidentally. And I also started acting also like on a whim and it just kind of stuck, so like we just kind of ran with it, and now I'm like making music and still like doing like funny content for the internet and stuff. But I think like the common thread between all of this is like everyone's trying to tell stories, so like that's one thing that's remained like the same for me is I've been trying to tell stories from the very beginning. The only difference that is that like the medium keeps not the medium but like I don't know what the right word is, but like the way you say it like it keeps changing, right?
Medium,
So
huh?
that's always been like really kind of interesting for me is that like in terms of like my mindset as a content creator, I feel like I'm still like I still stick to like the same principles that I used to like follow like 4 to 5 years ago when I just started working out when I just started working at BuzzFeed, and
Yeah.
like all the things I learned there. So
Hmm.
I think like when you're a content creator online, the most important thing that you need to do is find your audience. Like you have to spend some time figuring out who your audience is, and like kind of like why you're making the kind of content for them. Like is it are you making it so that like your particular audience will want to share it, or like you want them to feel a particular kind of way? But really identifying who your audience is very important from the get go. And like because we were company, like there were a lot of analytics involved and stuff, like we were like trying to figure out like who our demographic is and stuff. But even as an
Yeah.
individual content creator, I think that's a very important step, because like content creation, you should be doing it, of course, like purely for the love of it. Like obviously, like for I feel like it's a very intensive thing, like especially
Yeah.
like being on YouTube. If you want to be a YouTuber and if you want to be successful as a YouTuber, I feel like it's pretty much like a full-time job. Like you can't be making like a YouTube video every now and then and expect to see like consistent growth and stuff like that, like unless you're like really
Yeah.
lucky. So it's a full-time thing, so definitely as a content creator you should be doing or talking about stuff that you love and like what genuinely interests you. That's number one. And second
Yeah.
thing, like even as an individual or as a company or like as a group or whatever, you should know who your audience is. So we spent a lot of time the first couple of years at BuzzFeed, just throwing things on the wall and like seeing what stuck. And like these are all like terminologies that like my boss Rega Jha would use, like we're just throwing things on the wall, guys. And so I'm just like repeating verbatim like what she used to say. But
But BuzzFeed also went through sort of a transition, right? I remember initially it was seen in a not so positive way, but then eventually people took up to BuzzFeed as I mean, there was a lot more positive and
yeah,
you can say funny stuff as well coming out of BuzzFeed.
yeah,
So
man. I mean,
yeah,
I think that's still there. Like, there's still people who like shit on BuzzFeed on the internet, and at the same time, there were people who were like, like who were loyal to us like from the get go. In fact, I was like, even when I was in college, like a couple of years before joining BuzzFeed, I was already a huge BuzzFeed stan. I didn't even use the word stan then. That's how long back it was. But I knew like in my head that like if BuzzFeed ever came to India, like that's the one job that I want. That's like one place I'd love to work at. So there's always been people like that. There's always gonna be lovers. There's always gonna be haters, but I like to
yeah,
think that like the better you're doing, like the more haters there are, and like it's a sign that you're doing well. And
yeah, yeah.
you've got to
I
like
think
take
we'll get to
advantage of
that.
it.
We'll talk about
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
trolls as well.
for sure. I have a lot to say on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
like perception wise, I think it's very different. The perception of BuzzFeed is very different in the US where it started. So over there,
Mm.
it's like so much more mainstream, like I think, I don't know if this stat is still correct, but like a couple of years ago, I think like every 1 in 3 Americans would like read BuzzFeed or like knew about BuzzFeed. And like that is staggering
Wow.
to me. Yeah. And
Yeah.
obviously, like it didn't have that kind of like a reach in India. Like in India, it was mostly like restricted to like metros and stuff. But we've been doing it for like 5 or 6 years now, and like we're still going strong, So yeah, so like
Yeah.
we've got like BuzzFeed's got like their loyal fan base, which we all really appreciate, and like I hope it never goes away. So that's
Yeah.
pretty dope. What was the question?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you answered the first part pretty well because, yeah, you need to know your audience, man, before getting into the creation side of things.
Mhm.
I think knowing the audience is key.
Yeah,
And also, you touched upon how you used to, throw things on the wall and,
yeah,
actually making use of the data, analytical data that you have via YouTube or via Instagram, like
yeah,
the insights
yeah.
part. Do you actually like now as a more as an independent
Mm.
creator, do you actually rely on that a lot, like to
Um,
see who is actually viewing your content?
yeah, obviously, like it's on a much more intensive level when you're working with a company, but like those principles have kind of stayed with me. Like I'm very aware of like who I'm creating content for, but at the same time, like like as an independent creator, like the good thing is, you don't have that pressure of like, okay, like this is a job that I'm doing, and like I need to fulfill like these particular whatever aspects of my job, and that's really like liberating. So even if I want to do something radically different, try and like go after a new audience, or try and do something that's like very
Mm.
very different from like the kind of content that I put out, like I have full liberty to do that. So
Yeah.
it's a good place to be. Like I feel like I'm sort of established in that sphere in a way, but also at the same time I feel like I'm just starting out. So it's kind of like a cool flux to be in, like yeah, I'm really enjoying this phase.
But you're probably one of those rare breeds of creators because you've actually gone through a proper process, a more structured process of producing content online through BuzzFeed, which not a lot of creators do because they probably just start up on their own in a way. But
Yeah.
that's sort of an advantage for you because you know the drill, you know
um
how to work in a certain sense, at
I
least.
actually, I wouldn't say it's an advantage at all. I think it's just a different way of looking at things, because,
Yeah.
there's so many like independent creators that came out of India that like we didn't really find out about till like way later. And by the time we found out about them, they were already like huge, like, and
Yeah.
they are doing like so good right now. So I think what's important is for like a space like YouTube is like I said, like YouTube is a full-time job, so you have to be really, really consistent. Obviously, not like it's not quantity over quality, definitely, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like you look at it as like a TV show, like you keep coming back
Mm.
to it or you keep binging it, like if you find a TV
Yeah.
show you like, you wouldn't just
Mm.
watch it once, you'll want to watch it over and over again. You'll watch like repeat episodes, and like you'll stay up all night and like with no sleep, spending 8 hours on that. So that's kind of
Yeah.
like, as a YouTuber, and I'm talking specifically like for YouTube here, but like that's kind of like the target, like to create content that is so engaging that like people watch your videos over and over again. And to do
Yeah.
that, you will need to have like a lot of uploads and stuff over like a certain period of time, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't, to answer your question, like it's definitely definitely a different approach to like how to create content online. I learned a lot at BuzzFeed, like it was like the most fun 5 years of my life, and like the insights that I got there are like super valuable. And it's
Yeah.
it's definitely like made me like a different creator than what I would have been independently. And
Mm.
yeah, I discovered like so many things about myself also, like through BuzzFeed, like because of BuzzFeed I realized that like I really enjoy making content with my family, like that's one. And two, like people love watching it also, so like full two stones one bird kind of a situation right there.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I don't think I would have gone down that line if I wasn't at BuzzFeed. I would have probably like still kept writing, probably been a musician, but like I don't think I would have ever gotten into video, and like especially making like videos about my personal life and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just different, man. But it's
Yeah.
everything has its pros and cons.
But I mean, there's this need to be constantly relevant to
Hmm.
your audience as well, right? I mean, if you're doing this over a long period, you
Yeah.
need to make sure that your game's pretty much up in some way, and then you have to actually keep up with your audience as well. So yeah, I mean, coming back to that point, like seeing your data, like do you actually see maybe 20 to 30-year-olds, or say 15 to 25-year-olds are actually looking at your videos the most, and then do you actually customize or actually improvise on a content in a way that it caters more to these demographics?
We used to look at that like a lot more while I was at BuzzFeed. Right now, I don't
Mm.
look at it so much. I look at it from time to time, like kind of seeing like where my audience is coming from and stuff. And yeah, like it's for me also like
As
it's
it does that hinder your creative process, or I mean, do you actually make changes according to that, or it's not much of a
uh,
thing?
no, not really. But like I said, like sometimes I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, there's some like demos that like I've not really touched on yet, and I just want to like make some content for them and like see if that's something that first of all like they like, and secondly it's
Mm.
also something I enjoy doing. So
Yeah.
in that way, like it's kind of cool to kind of help you like identify new markets or like new groups who you could be
Yeah.
talking to. And yeah, it's interesting in that way. I think at BuzzFeed the approach was to kind of figure out who is really consuming our content a lot, and
Yeah.
then like working forward from there. So I have like
Yeah.
the independence right now to kind of do whatever I want with that information. I don't always make the best decisions with that information, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's all there. It's all there for you to like interpret however you want. So it varies from person to person, like creator to creator.
Mm. Nice. Nice. Also about the fact about sustaining it, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah, how do you do that? How do you keep yourself motivated in a way? Because uh, I mean, for me personally, I would think that I would I get easily bored of doing something very repetitively.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and that's probably a generational problem. So
Yeah.
maybe you
No,
feel the
no,
same.
man, I
So
feel that all the time, and like I do think like it's like the more time passes, like online content creating is getting more and more stressful. Like uh, I wouldn't use the word cutthroat because I feel like there's space for everyone on the online like sphere. Like if you like something, go do it. Like there's not like I don't like looking at like other creators as like competition and all. Like the other day, someone asked me like, "Is this person
mm,
like your competitor?" I'm like, "What? Like no. Like that's literally the first time I've ever thought about this dude as a competitor. Like we're just all like
yeah,
doing our thing on the internet, you know. So that's kind of cool. But with that said, yeah, there is pressure to like keep consistent and stuff like that, and like stay motivated and always keep like putting out content. And when you're an independent creator, like the last 6 months, I've really felt that, you know, like at
mm,
BuzzFeed, like I was with this amazing team, and whenever we needed to do something, even if it was a personal project, like we would brainstorm um, for like an hour or two and like come up with a bunch of stuff that we could do around
yeah,
a particular topic. Right now, I'm like really like missing that.
yeah,
So yeah, that's like one of the cons of being an independent creator. Like kind of you have to start like reaching out to people to kind of stay motivated and like stay collaborative and like not
yeah,
get like too monotonous in terms of like what you're making as well. So
yeah,
definitely, I'm feeling that pinch. But
yeah.
yeah, let's see
But
how
I think
that goes.
there's so much in India, like in terms of the internet market, I think it's largely untapped, and YouTube and Instagram are probably only touching up on like the surface,
Yeah,
which I think TikTok's sort of in a way it got through that surface
yeah,
because it
yeah,
could actually reach out to people in smaller towns and villages, and also now everyone has a geo phone, man. So with
yeah,
that, I don't know how many people you can actually reach out to and create content for them. So
bro.
there's a
Yeah,
lot of scope, I feel.
it's definitely like where we were like when I joined BuzzFeed, and like in terms of like the internet in India and where we are right now is so vastly different, you know. Like when we started out, like my mom didn't even know, like I was like, "Mom, I'm going to work at BuzzFeed." She was like, "Is that a food company?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm not cooking." But you know, like
Yeah,
right now, like the awareness is so big, and like yeah, like you said, because of like geo and stuff, like the penetration to like smaller markets has increased to like an extent where I can't even fathom like how many people are actually connected right now in India. So yeah, I guess like
yeah,
it's still like a really good time to start making stuff. Like it's gonna take a while till India kind of reaches a saturation point in terms of content. I know a lot of people think there's already too much content online, but you know, if you don't like it, don't watch it, bro. Just shut up and move on, you know. But yeah, I think there's still like so much scope, and like that's kind of awesome that like people from smaller town are consuming content, which means people from smaller towns are gonna start creating content also, which obviously they're doing by the droves, and a lot of people are getting like big out of it, and like there's like a lot of interesting stories. And yeah, man,
yeah.
like I feel like the next 10 to 15 years in India, it's going to be like really transformative in terms of what the internet's going to look like after like a period of time. It's going to be
Correct,
really
correct, correct.
fun.
And also, what's cool is you actually expanded your, or you can say, spread your wings in a way. So you're not just focusing on like producing video content, but yeah, I mean, you're also doing your music, assignments on in the sideline.
Yeah.
So that's good because you're covering a lot more ground now. So how did that go? Why did you make the switch? It's not really a switch, but then why did you
Yeah,
decide to get into this zone?
bro, like if anybody like has known me since I was like 15, 16 years old, like I don't know if you had an idea,
Yeah,
but I was writing music like a long time before like I even started writing for BuzzFeed, or like I'd even like shot a single video. You know, I was just writing music, and all through college and stuff. Also, like I was learning. I was in a media college, so I was learning like media and advertising and stuff like that. But I was like, I have
yeah,
to like kind of find my way to music in some way.
yeah,
So even at BuzzFeed, you know, like I had the 5 best years of my life. Like I honestly don't think I'll have that much fun ever in my life again. But end of the day, I was like, I have to find a way to kind of make like this music thing work for me. And I think I realized right off the bat, like when I was about 21, 22 years old, that like I don't have like the musical qualifications to kind of do it in the traditional sense. So like I'd have to like figure out, you know, some way to
Yeah.
expand it my way and like figure like do it my way. So I think I figured that out. Like I mean, when I say that, I feel like I've just like entered like the music industry now. I'm such a newbie, you know, like I have so much to learn, and I'm learning a lot also. But
Yeah.
it's really helped kind of like to already prove to people that like I can make content and stuff, and like kind of know how the internet works and like why people share stuff, and like that definitely like comes in handy when you're making music also, like because I'm really aware of how
Yeah.
things spread over the internet.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a new journey, but in many ways it's an old journey. That's the
Yeah, I mean, I knew about you had a couple of bands you were working with, like
yeah.
you were part of it in when you were in college and so on.
Oh
So
yeah.
I remember checking on that. But I mean, do you want to actually get into something like what Andy Samberg does, like in terms of, you know, he's like a comic actor, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
also doing these music albums which are
Bro,
still on the more funny side,
I just want to say
funky.
that Andy Samberg is a god. Like the way he like stuff he's done with Lonely Island and like the movies he's made. Like I was a pop star, never stop, never stopping. Like
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it takes like a certain amount of genius to do that. But for me, like that's always been open. Like a lot of people ask me, like, you know, like you're in the funny sphere and like you're making music also. So like, why don't you combine the two? And
yeah, exactly.
I have thought about it a lot, and maybe I will down the line. But for me, like at first, I kind of want to establish myself as a musician as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I want to spend like a few years at least like making music, or like getting to a place where I'm actually making music which I think is really really good, and like people from around the world are listening to it. And that's kind of my goal at the moment, you know. And like when you think of like people who have done that in the past, I would say like there's Donald Glover, who's done that really well. You know, he was a writer on 30 Rock
SNL?
inish. Sorry.
30 Rock, okay. Yeah, I thought SNL, but huh, okay, 30 Rock.
I don't
Yeah,
think he wrote for SNL. Yeah, no, yeah, he wrote for 30 Rock, and then he started acting in Community, and then he started rapping, and like
yeah,
now he's like direct. He's made his own show, and like it's probably one of the best shows on TV right now, Atlanta.
okay.
So if like there's like really like a blueprint that I've been trying to follow, it's his, you know. Like I love like the way he's expanded his career, and like he's blown it up to such a
Yeah,
level where like he is one of the top 5 biggest artists in the world right now, like regardless of like what genre you listen to and stuff, you know. Like so many people know
hmm.
Donald Glover.
That's
So
pretty impressive.
yeah, and like so that's the goal right now, I would say. Like I'm just trying to like be like Brown Gambino. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's see where that goes. Also, Joji, I don't know if you like know Joji. Do you know this YouTuber who used to be known as Filthy Frank?
No, man.
Oh, bro.
Yeah,
So like, go check
okay.
out
I'll
after
check
this
it out.
call. Like, go check out Filthy Frank, and
Yeah,
then go listen to the music of Joji. Okay, it's
okay.
the same
Cool.
person, but like, it's the
Ah,
same guy.
okay.
So like, he was initially like he was a YouTuber. He was one of the biggest YouTubers like a few years ago, and he was wild.
Okay.
He's a wild man. He doesn't care. He
Okay.
doesn't care. Okay. So, but now he like makes music, and like it's very very different from like the kind of music he used to make, the kind of
Yeah.
content he used to make. And yeah, so like I'm trying to like go down that path. It's something like very few people do. So I think that's one thing that excites me also. I don't really like doing like stuff that
Yeah,
everyone.
I think you have a edge in some sense. You already have a head start in a way, and yeah, you can actually you should actually push on this and, you know,
Yeah, I
work
mean,
on something.
I don't know. I
You know,
don't know. I wouldn't call it a head start, but like I said, like I feel like guys like Joji and Donald Glover found their own way of doing
Um,
things.
yeah.
So
No,
like
I
yeah.
meant in the more in the Indian web context.
Hmm.
Yeah, you probably. I mean, you already sort of established. How things work in some sense at least. So yeah, that's definitely gonna help you. You know,
Yeah,
take this forward. Spread those wings.
I
So,
hope so, bro. I
yeah,
hope so, man. I've been
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
fly, dude.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, and I also wanted to talk to you about like. Yeah, like maybe sharing some of the more technical details, like aspects of producing a video, for example.
Hmm.
Because for independent creator,
Yeah,
you actually end up doing everything from like you know uh, creating a sketch, writing it down, and then producing it, editing it, putting the sound, everything, all of that has to go in. And also the actual presentation of it wherever you put it up. So how much effort is it? Because people think it's pretty easy, but I think there's a lot of work that goes into doing all of this, especially if you're a one-man team.
yeah. It's not easy, bro. It's not easy. I'm telling. So I got so triggered.
Yeah,
Uh, Bro, but yeah, I'm glad you asked me that because I think I've had like a very unique experience in terms of like being trained for this job. So
yeah,
yeah, you're absolutely right when you said that like it's kind of if you're an independent creator, you have to start out pretty much doing everything yourself. Okay, so
yeah.
that includes conceptualizing your video. Like
Mm.
if I'm like if you just take like one YouTube video, if I want to upload a YouTube video, first I have to conceptualize it. If it's a scripted video, then I have to script it obviously.
Yeah,
And I have to figure out like how to shoot it. There's a lot of technical stuff that happens there. Once you shot
yeah,
it, you have to edit it, right? And
yeah,
there's like some more like aspects of editing, like graphics and like presentation and stuff like that, which you also have to take care of. And then you have to also be aware of how your content is going to be shared on the internet. So like I think that's a very different, I mean, I
mm,
wouldn't say different, but like it's something that's very new to a lot of people. It's not something that's existed for a very long time in human history, the internet. So
yeah,
like it's something that honestly I think people are still trying to figure out. Even like people who are experts, and like yeah, there are a lot of people who are like very qualified in this field, but I think
mm,
even they are aware that like the internet changes so fast. Like there's no other medium on this planet, not radio, not TV, not print, that is so dynamic. Like the internet does not look like this. Like the internet didn't look like this 5 years ago. It's not going to look like this 5 years from now. And I think
right, yeah.
people at the highest level kind of accept that, and like they kind of go with the flow to always stay relevant and always like keep changing with how the internet works.
So
um
do you, sorry, just cutting you off.
no, no, go
Do
ahead.
you embrace all these different features, man? Like say with Instagram, in India, Abhi, you have Instagram Reels and those things.
Yo, reels is
But
hot.
you basically, so Reels, stories, highlights, I don't know, all those different sort of features that you have within the stories as well.
Yeah,
So how important is it to actually adopt all of these in your work?
bro,
Uh,
like I think if you want to have like a prolonged career in this, then definitely you have to embrace innovation, and I think that's something like that stands true for every industry. Like if you don't keep up with the times, and if you like you stay like a purist in a sense, then like you're gonna fall behind. Like that's like it's something like I've seen in music also. Like people who are like staunch purists are like, I'll only listen to this one genre. Like what are you gonna do when that genre of music dies out? Like how are you gonna make money, bro? So like you gotta stay
yeah,
dynamic, and like even on the internet that is so important, like and yeah, you talked about like some like features of like particular apps and all, but I think
yeah,
in a much broader sense also, like if you look at like the main platforms like 5 to 6 years ago, um all publishers and all content creators, apart from being like very YouTube centric, were also huge on Facebook. Like for us also, like we were like looking at Facebook so closely. Like we were like, okay, we'll make something for YouTube, we'll make the same thing but in a different way for our Facebook audience. And that was
Okay.
before like Facebook kind of had like some policy changes regarding advertising and all, and that like threw a lot of people off. And these are also like things I'm talking about, like, you know, YouTube has its current model, Instagram has its own way of working, but you never know when all of it might change in an instant. So when that happens, like if you're like, no, I'm gonna keep doing things the way I've always done it, then like everyone's gonna run ahead past you, you know. So and like
Right.
look at what's happening right now, you know, like it's only been like a
With
couple of
TikTok?
weeks. Yeah, with TikTok, like there's so many people on TikTok in India, like it's like unfathomable numbers. And now all of these people like who have kind of built a career off of TikTok are adapting and like figuring out how to take it forward if TikTok isn't here, if it doesn't come back at all, like where else they can go, what else they can do.
Mm.
So yeah, you have to always like be on your feet, like in this industry, like you have to always be ready for change, embrace it, and it will do you good. But yeah, like I just want to go back to like what we were talking about before, you know, like the nature of the internet we discussed. So the
Yeah.
first few aspects of like being a content creator, from like for me as a video creator, things that I learned at Buzz, like one of the good things that they did at BuzzFeed was they kind of I don't know why they did this, but like it really worked out for us. Is like they trained us individually. So like they weren't like, okay, you're gonna edit the videos and like this person's going to write the scripts and these people are going to act and these people are going to shoot, and it's going to be like this assembly line of content. Instead, like what they stressed on was making everyone independent and like good at all aspects. So for example, if
Mm.
I was
Oh.
leading a project, and like I don't know how many people do this, but like I feel like it's such good practice, like especially when like you're trying to be an independent creator. But
Mm.
whenever I would make a YouTube video, I would, you know, like I would have to come up with the idea myself. Obviously I could get like a lot of people into brainstorm and we have like really good brainstorms and stuff, but you know, like once I'd come up with the final concept, if there was like any sourcing I had to do, like in terms of like equipment or like props or like personnel, actors, that was all on me. And you know, once you did that, like on the day of the shoot, like you'd have people helping you on set, like you'd have someone doing a camera for you, you'd have someone doing a sound for you, you know, someone like helping you out with the lights and stuff. But
Mm.
more often than not, it was someone from the team. So it's like a very close knit group, and like everyone knew, after like a 1 or 2 years of doing it, everyone knew what they were good at and like what they could improve on. So
Yeah.
like that also like became like a very background process, like okay, we are getting better at this behind the scenes also. Okay, so, and
Mm.
once that was done, like most of the people at BuzzFeed also edited their own videos. So like I feel like so grateful for learning video editing, because I would have never picked it up otherwise. But like because of this job, like I got thrown into it, and now I love video editing. Like it's so
But
interesting.
I tried, so I don't know, I don't think you know about it, but I last year I went for a short filmmaking course in
Oh,
Germany.
really?
So yeah, I wanted to do a longer one, but obviously uh, too
It
shit
started
scared
to
to
snow.
quit.
Yeah.
Huh. No, no, so I just did it for a week, and I
Huh.
thought, let's try it, and if I like it, maybe I'll see what I can do with it. And the best part about that whole process was about filmmaking and shooting everything was actually the editing bit, because
Yeah.
editing it is actually a very creative process
Mm-hmm.
as well. I thought it's just like copy paste, cut, copy, but no, man. You can actually, if you have a lot of good content already shot, the lot of you can actually play around with it in a lot of different ways, and
Bro, yeah. And
different editors will come up with different stories.
exactly. I think that's what's like something that like like not a lot of people kind of understand is like editing is also an art form, you know, like if you give the same footage to two different people, you might end
Yeah,
up with two very different videos, like with the same
yeah,
content. And I think that is
yeah.
really fascinating. So for me also, like I've always like tried to like find my way of editing, and like I'll stick to that, and I'll always be trying like new things with the way I edit. And yeah, that's like been one of the most interesting things for me, just like learning how to edit. And yeah, but like once you're done editing, that's when like
Yeah.
what we just spoke about comes into play, you know, like understanding your audience and understanding how the internet works and like how your piece of content is going to be viewed and shared online, and like who's going to consume it, why would they share it with other people, and how do you like really maximize the kind of exposure for your content. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a and so like now
So
that
what is one key thing to like know, or maybe like top of your head, what do you think, or a piece of advice for someone who is starting out creating their content?
Hmm.
What should they know when about their audience, or how should they go about researching on them, or the best practices? Like I
Man,
read up about things like when should you actually post on YouTube or
yeah.
Instagram. A lot of nitty gritties about this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like about that, I'll just again like repeat something my mentor Rega Jha once told me. She was like, if like your content is good, it should not matter what time of the day or what day of the week you post it. If it's good, it's good. Like if it's something that people will share, they will share it any time of day or night, you know. Like you can obviously
Mm.
like try and maximize like certain aspects, like okay, more people will see it at this time and like stuff like that. But and like I truly believe that at the end of the day, if your content is good and like you've worked at making it good, then like that will drive itself, you know.
Okay.
And so like one thing that like I truly believe, and this might not be like a very technical piece of advice, but like you have to remember that like at the end of the day, like look at yourself also as your own audience, you know. So like if you've made a video and like if you hate it, who cares if like thousands and thousands of people watch it and share it? You probably wouldn't want to make something like that again. So like if you make something, make sure it's something that you love, bro. Like, and I know that sounds like really cliched, but like if you're doing this full time and like you have to do this for months, years, then it's got to be something that's like interesting to you also. Otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you to sustain it in the long run. So like if you
Yeah.
try something and like, you know, it's like kind of out of your comfort zone, but if it blows up and now you're like feeling pressure, like, oh my god, I have to make videos like this also, but I hate myself as a person when I do this, then that's not gonna last, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, I felt that many times.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, no, I'm definitely never gonna do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a fun process of self discovery also. So like, yeah, stay true to yourself, bro. Like cliches be cliche
I'm.
is what it is.
Oh, it makes sense, man. What about like your setup? Like, do you have a setup at home, or even when you're like going on shoots or whatever?
Hmm.
In terms of like your or setups or some sort of DIY hacks that
Uh,
you know कि इससे काम जल्दी होता है या
uh,
जल्दी नहीं मतलब it's better, or people don't know it and it's a smart hack in a way. So
it kind of depends like what platform you're making it for. If you're on YouTube, obviously it helps to have like some really handy equipment, like for example, like something that one piece of equipment that like I love is the Zoom H6. It's an audio recorder. So what it enables you to do is you can record like surround like sound like in a room also, like with the mic.
round sound.
But also yeah, but also like if you need to record like someone's specific sound, like dialogue for example, you can like
Yeah.
attach a lapel to them and like you can record it through the Zoom as well. So like
Okay.
I think you have to like understand what kind of content you're making and like what is useful for it. Like if I'm making Instagram videos, I don't really need a DSLR, bro. Like I just need a phone,
Mobile.
good camera, maybe a
Hmm.
tripod, you know. If I'm a beauty blogger, which I'm not, but like if I'm a beauty blogger, I'll need a good ring light and
Could
stuff.
be.
I can be a beauty blogger if I want to be. Beauty bloggers, watch out. Don't test me. Don't test me, bro. But yeah, like there's like small things you can add. I'm
Uh,
obviously like really big on sound, so like I'm really like passionate about things that help me like record sound better. And so
hmm.
yeah, the Zoom H6, I feel like it's really useful like as a starting point for like audio, regardless of what kind of like content you're making. And it's like if again, like if you're an independent creator and it's kind of expensive for you to get a Zoom H6, I don't have one. Like I don't own one, but whenever I
Wow.
need it, like I'll rent it out, and it's like pretty cheap for a day. Like and like I don't know how it is in other cities, but like fortunately in Bombay, it's like fairly easy to rent audio and video equipment. So like I'll just rent out an H6 for a day if I'm like shooting a really intensive video, and then like once it's done, I just give it back to them, and that's it. I have crisp sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
And where does budget come in? Because you mentioned about renting and stuff.
Hmm.
Is that issue sometimes if you are if you're just starting out?
Yeah.
And also with budget, I think what comes in later is like the monetization bit or getting brands on board. I
Yeah.
think that's probably later, but then yeah, is that something to actually
Uh,
how do you work with that if you're just starting out?
I think, see, I won't say that like don't think about budget when you're starting out, because obviously like investment is a very important part of everything, like even if you're making, like if you have very few like subscribers and you're just starting out and you just have like a little bit of equipment, you need, I think it's healthy to start budgeting from then on, because like what like a lot of people do, and like I think what I also did is like kind of start out with nothing, and then like when the need arose, like then I started budgeting. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend this much on this and all. A
Yeah,
healthier way to go about it is just start budgeting, like even at a very like small level. Like, okay, I need a mic, I need a tripod, I need my phone. Maybe I need to pay someone to edit my video because I don't know how to edit, or maybe I need to like buy some software to learn editing. Okay, like these are like
yeah,
very basic budgetary things that like you need to do. And like as your channel grows bigger, as your content is growing, like you start budgeting for other things, like okay, I'm gonna get a better camera, I'm gonna get a crew now, and stuff
yeah.
like that. So like bro, start budgeting like since like from the day you're born, dude. Like come out of your mother's womb going like, okay, ring light is
10
expensive.
रुपया 20 रुपया.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, budgeting is super healthy, man, and it really really helps in the long run. So
Yeah, I mean, if you have a
guys, just
good idea about how much you're spending and things like that, it definitely it does.
yes.
Uh, yeah, I think we covered quite a bit, especially about the technical aspects, budgeting, and all those things as well.
Sweet,
I
sweet.
wanted to ask you a few more things, man.
Oh, where the
Yeah,
table
I
is.
mean, we'll touch upon one important topic, but before that,
Hmm.
you obviously gave some good sound advice about things that you should be doing. But what about the things that you shouldn't be doing? Especially like when you're, what are the key things that you end up making mistakes, like or creators end up making mistakes for, or what you did, when you were probably starting out in terms
Yeah,
of your content creation.
bro, we have made so many mistakes, and I think you should make like mistakes, especially when you're working with a medium like the internet, where like nothing is like set in stone. You have a
Huh.
lot of like room for error, and the good thing is like, I don't know, some people might disagree with me on this, but like I feel like if you make something and it's not like a very good piece of content, and trust me, like I've made some really bad shit that's online, and I won't tell you because I don't want people looking it up and like embarrassing me about it. But it's like you learn what you're not good at also, like yeah. So like I said, like I don't think BuzzFeed India would have had that initial like burst of success if we didn't experiment, and like we failed a lot. Like we failed a lot, and
Yeah.
after like a certain point of time, I think like we figured out, okay, this is what we're good at, and this is what we can keep doing. But that wouldn't have happened if like we made like all these bunch of like ridiculous videos, and like now if you look at it, probably like half of them won't even make sense. Like, why would we do that? why would I wear that, or like whatever? But like, yeah, you
Yeah.
learn. And I think that's the beauty of the internet, is like you keep learning. And what I
Yeah.
was saying is like, if you make a bad piece of content, I feel like after a while people forget about it. Like unless it goes like viral, bro. Like
For being
like
cringy.
yeah, like Yeah, I don't know about cringy, man. Like, I think people
Yeah.
use that word too liberally now. Like everything is cringe, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think okay. Like I'll say one thing. Like one thing. I
Huh.
think not just as a creator but as a consumer also in the internet. And like I've definitely like stressed about this recently. Also, is just be nicer, bro. Like as a creator, like to like fellow creators also, just be nice. Like I said, like it seems cutthroat, but like there is space for everyone to flourish. This is not like any other industry where like there's only like a certain amount of places allotted for success, like everyone can do their thing and they can find
Very
success.
democratic, right?
Sorry, yeah, man, like that's how it's supposed to be. I think
Yeah.
lately, like there's been like a lot of negative energy on the internet, and we're just fighting a lot. And I get it, everyone's cooped up in their homes, everyone's frustrated. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I think you need to put an effort to be like nice to people on the internet, and like just be patient with everybody, and just like let everyone do their thing, man. Let people make mistakes. Like we all learn together, bro, as a community. Like learning doesn't really happen like, so I don't know, let me rephrase that. Learning does happen on an individualistic level, but like
Yeah.
if you learn as a community, like I think that's what like drives something forward. Like that's how like the internet will evolve for me, like go to the
Yeah, I
next.
think it's important for you guys to also speak up about this because yeah, being kind is important. I think a lot of people just miss that point. They just yeah, it's so easy to just go and diss someone on the internet,
Yeah,
right?
bro, so
Yeah, it
easy.
doesn't help anyone. It
Bro,
doesn't
I
help
get
you. It
so
doesn't,
tempted sometimes. I'm like, if someone like talks shit to me on my comments, like it's
Mm.
so easy to like just go and like just say some shit back to them, and your followers are gonna like back you up and they'll be like, yes, Cheyenne, you go get him, and all that shit.
Yeah,
But like that'll just make you feel good at that particular point of time. You haven't really given any constructive feedback to this person. They're gonna keep raging on somebody else's profile or on your profile. They're not gonna change, so like, but if you kind of reason it out with them and like try and show them like your point of view, it's laborious, bro. Like it's really really taxing, it's really tiring. But
yeah,
yeah, man, like we need to do that on a mass scale. Like everybody needs to start doing that, like get their shit together and like be nicer.
yeah.
Just remember that.
Somehow, I mean, I thought the hate was usually restricted to Twitter, but nowadays I see a lot of people just coming up with things like this that even on Instagram, which was supposed to be a more nicer,
Yeah.
happier, positive place.
Yeah, Instagram was always the place where like people would come to distract themselves and like, I'm gonna look at pretty shit right now. And
Yeah,
like
but
if they wanted to fight, they'd go on Twitter. But like I think the lines have blurred now. Everything is everywhere.
dude, I
Sometimes I
think with
see like,
stories, people are just posting stuff like, "Oh, I don't like this. I took offense to this," and
yeah.
it's just so annoying to see people just post things that they don't
Yeah.
like. So
But I mean, like, it's
yeah,
kind of a good thing also. Like, sometimes I'll see like really funny shit on Twitter, like, and I'm a Twitter lurker. Like, I rarely ever tweet, but like, I'm always on Twitter. I'm like checking out funny tweets and like funny videos people have uploaded.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's getting to a point where like everyone's raging everywhere, but also everyone's like having a good time everywhere. You just gotta like find your people, I guess.
yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, things get more nice and people are kinder. I think
I
it,
think people are
it will
already
happen.
kind. I think people are already kind. I think it's just like when you have like this screen in front of you, you kind of forget who you are for a few
Mm.
seconds. I think inherently everyone has niceness in them and like they have good shit to say. But like when you're like you're protected by this screen and like nobody's gonna come and like pick on you like for this one thing you said on the internet. Like you feel protected, like so just remember, like,
Yeah,
there's people on the other end of that barrage also, and like hopefully you'll
yeah,
start being a little nicer. So yeah,
yeah. I'm telling you, man. Whenever I see your stuff, it's really relaxing and comforting in a way. Yeah. So I think, dude, I think we covered a lot of topics today, and
yeah,
thanks for sharing so much. Uh,
bro. Thank you for having me,
I
man.
I should be congratulating you, and you should be congratulating me because we're supposed to be Liverpool buddies, man. But I don't know what happened because I basically became a Liverpool fan through you. You were like, oh, I was like, concert team support karna chahiye. You were like, oh, Liverpool, Liverpool. I was like, okay, cool. And you were
Bro,
actually supporting two teams, and I actually was like, okay, Liverpool and Blackburn Rovers. I don't know if you
oh,
remember this shit.
I love Blackburn, bro. I do Goodionson. Oh my God, that team,
David
bro. Oh,
Bentley, bro.
bro, David Bentley. Oh
Huh.
man.
So yeah, what happened there, man? Like, how did you end up supporting Arsenal instead of Liverpool after all these years?
Man, first of all, I'll tell you, like even my dad supports Liverpool because of me, because that time I was like, dad, support Liverpool, support Liverpool. And he's like, okay. So you and my dad support Liverpool because of me. But similarly, I started supporting Liverpool because of my best friend at the time, Oreen Day. You remember he used to live in B building, right?
Or in, yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So he loved Liverpool. So I just started watching like football properly that time as a kid. And I was like, I needed a team to support. So because he supported Liverpool, I was like, yeah, this team has great legacy and all. And like they do. They're a great team. And Gerrard is still like my top five players of all time. Okay, like after like on top three after on Zidane and Henry is Gerrard. Okay, so I still love Gerrard, but like yeah, like after watching football for a few years, I realized like when I can like critically make decisions for myself, I really like Arsenal style more.
yeah,
So switched to Arsenal when I was getting into college. But then, to be fair, I'm still an Arsenal fan. Like I'm not switching back to Liverpool now that they're like champions and everything.
huh.
Arsenal is shit now, and I'm still an Arsenal fan.
Arsenal,
I love you, Mikel Arteta.
huh.
Huh?
Arsenal is like ninth or tenth in the league, no? Yeah.
I honestly don't know because like I don't really follow football that much now. Just started watching like MMA and kickboxing and stuff.
Dude, you came all the
So
way to Singapore for MMA,
yes,
basically.
sir. That's when we met because I
Yeah,
was watching UFC Fight Night in Singapore 2 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
So
I had
yeah.
the same thing, man. Like after like 3-4 years of getting introduced to Liverpool through you, and basically being a big fanboy of Gerrard, I figured कि हाँ, Arsenal is actually not bad because if I was a fan then, like in 2009, 10, after like a few years of supporting Liverpool, I was like, yeah, Arsenal is like a proper underdog team, doesn't
Yeah.
get any trophies, and it's
Yeah.
a big bunch of young kids. I mean, it suits my style. Like I could actually grow up
Yeah.
supporting this
Bro,
club.
like Arsenal now is like Liverpool was back then. So like I
True.
guess you could make the argument that deep down I'm still a Liverpool fan,
Yeah, yeah.
essentially. So
Huh.
that's
But
kind
you
of
know
nice
the
to think
motto of
about.
Liverpool, na? I mean the slogan is you
Yeah, I know it is never tickle a sleep. That's
sleeping
Hogwarts.
down.
It's you'll never walk alone.
Huh,
It's
huh.
YNWA, bro.
That totally
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
go with my podcast name because my podcast name is Atlas Solo. So, but yeah,
That's why he
and,
stopped supporting Liverpool. I get it. I
I'm
get it.
supporting Liverpool, man. Come on.
Okay, okay. It's just me then.
I am so happy because I ended up going to watch Liverpool Chelsea UEFA Super Cup last year in Istanbul. Istanbul Super Cup. So and they won in penalties. So malab even better. Like, huh. And I was
Just like
there,
a
and
recap.
it was the
That's
first
crazy.
time I recorded a Insta live, and I never,
Oh shit.
so I lost it. But basically, I had the best time there,
Oh
supporting.
shit.
I am happy because in a way I feel like I started this whole season of trophy is that we have collected over like not including Champions Trophy from last year, but yeah. So super happy.
They're like, thanks, Ayan from Singapore. Like that dude really sorted us out, bro.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's
dope.
cool, man. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna walk alone or not, but yeah, just keep at it, man.
Uh, bro, like, I don't know. I don't know. That's too loaded for me to answer right now. I'll get back to
Yeah.
you on that.
No, but thanks. On a more serious note, thanks for doing this.
Bro,
I had a
thanks for
great
having
time.
me, man.
I think I picked up a lot of new things as well from you, and hopefully there's something for whoever is listening to this.
I
And
hope so.
yeah, and I really hope you take it up, man. Take it to the next level. Not just
Bro,
with whatever you're doing online with the funny videos, cooking those meals which you say that you do, but actually I know it's auntie who's doing it.
It was me only, bro. It was me.
Yeah. You
It
don't
was
even know the
me.
name of that meal, man. Bhindi kya tha? Huh. But anyway,
Ready?
really
I
nice.
don't know.
Yeah,
We'll talk
but
about it
cool.
later, bro.
Keep at it and keep at the music, man, because I was just listening to one of your songs today morning, I think. So just keep doing it and get at that level. What was that? JG? Kya naam hai? Fuck, I forgot.
Joji.
Joji, man. Yeah.
Joji. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. That's like really kind. I hope so, bro. I hope so.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me, man. I hope you make a lot more episodes. This was fun.
Yeah. I'll let you know
Yeah.
once it's out. So yeah, just stay tuned
Thanks.
for
Should
that.
be back.
Yeah.